Welcome to the Illuminati Broadcast. I'm your host, David Moore. Welcome. Hi, how are you? Alrighty. So, just gotta adjust the camera, the view. Alright, so Illuminati Broadcast. Today's September 30th. Alright, so let's just do a little review of what life has been like. I went to the beach with my friend, Venice Beach. Burned some candles, some incense, cleansed my aura, gained some power here and there. I noticed that the wind was kind of blowing from the west, so that's a good sign because the west has all that wealth energy with the water, and the east has all that air energy. So it was kind of saying wealth is coming towards my direction, and that's nice. And then I got to go to Comic-Con, which was really fun. I went for the first time, and I'm really glad that I got to go. What else happened? The other day, I've been dealing with mannequin energy, where, the more you talk about a mannequin or, reveal or expose Illuminati stuff, things get a little tense every now and then, where the energies start trying to, get you in trouble in a way, or they, how do I put this? They try to get in your way, stumbling blocks or roadblocks, etc., just because you're advancing and they don't want you to advance so much. I've been playing Dungeon Dice Monsters on Yu-Gi-Oh! On an emulator that I have. So that's kind of fun. Been enjoying that. So the other day, there was this mannequin. I was going to call him a homunculus, which is the same thing. Alright, so the mannequin was I told you guys that the mannequin is desperate, it's a little crazy, it has its issues, and if you give it too much leeway, it'll take advantage. And one was making my life a little bit difficult, but I kept working my magic. I did the incense, the cleansing, the blessings, I did all the work that I needed to do, and then she just stops being like that. And she just asked for forgiveness and things like that. And I'm like, see, it works. You just gotta really just understand that the mannequin is always gonna be a mannequin, and that you can forgive it and move on, and you don't have to have problems with it. Because if you have problems with it, then it'll think of every single situation that it can to make your life annoying. But if you kind of just make things easy for yourself, and you don't really focus too much on them, it's a little bit better. Because in the astral realm, I love to do astral battles, spiritual warfare. And when you're making really good progress on an enemy, then the energies kind of start going around you, and they start like little moleculars, how when there's a magnet or electricity and they start moving. So he's sending his negative energy out that way towards my direction. So then it makes everyone around me kind of the mannequins, they're very receptive to it, and they get kind of confused and bonkers. But I put down that good energy that I have, my protective energy. I've been working with Mercury, so I just bring down those shadows, and I bring out the light from inside of me. So it draws in those shadows, and it destroys whatever is parasiting off of my aura, and it just kind of eats away at that. And it draws him in, so that way I can hit him with that fire energy, so I could burn him up. But so the mannequin asked for forgiveness. It was all nice, it was all kind, and everything's all better now. But it's cool to see how there's this progression. You go from, okay, sorry, it's a little warm in here, I gotta turn on a fan. So you see this progression, okay? You see the mannequin, it gets desperate, it fights back. It's kind of like an animal, it fights, and then it kind of calms down, and then it's not being influenced as much because you're putting up a lot of barriers and energy, and you're staying true to yourself. You're not trying to engage with the mannequin and fight it. You're just trying to put up a boundary almost, and you're just trying to be authentic. And that's important because eventually the mannequin can't keep feeding off of that energy, and then it kind of just settles down. So whenever you meet a parasite and it's leeching off of you, once you take yourself off of it, you both get this kind of sickness, because one is you want friendship and companionship, but at the same time, once you cut that off, you kind of need you feel different because there's no longer that parasite leeching off of you. So you're just whoa, I feel different. I feel I don't know, like I'm missing something, but that's what the parasite does. It like leeches off you in a way where you feel like you need that energy to leech off of you. But once you cut it off, then you feel better. Like if somebody breaks up and they're like, oh, I miss them so much, it's because there was a lot of vampiric energy in there. Yeah, so but the mannequin was like, please forgive me, I'm sorry. And I'm like, okay, don't worry. Like I was still being like, but I also have another mannequin that's a friend, but like they can be your friends, but just you just have to remember that they're not on the same path as you. Like you're gonna go to heaven, they're gonna go to hell. There's a big difference, but it's okay to be civil. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to be civil on this side of the world. In the spiritual realm, you can throw a fucking fireball at them and let them burn and rot in hell. But on this side, you have to just be like, yay, I love you, good for you, God bless you. Yeah, and people are going to be like, it's fake, but it's like, hey, it's better to be fake it till you make it right. Like they're fake too, but at least, you know, you're not going to get caught up because they want you to get caught up. So I'd rather be fake than get caught up in their bullcrap. Because if they could get you like chained up or bad things happen to you, they will love that. They will love it when bad things happen to you. That's their goal in life, is to make sure your life is miserable as can be. So yeah, so their plans didn't work, but it's okay because that's what is expected. Once you start attacking like the source of your spiritual warfare, like the issue in your life, because there's always going to be somebody there. Like there's a lot of CIA stuff where there's like, oh, you have a twin soul, etc. It's usually that person. So if you have a twin soul, like for me, I have a couple. So that means that they were like, oh, we got to make sure we have a whole bunch of these twin souls around him, so that way he can be held down, he could slow down, that he has like, let's say you're going up a mountain, you can't carry everybody up that mountain with you, but usually you do try. And you know, you're climbing up that mountain, but if you're alone, you can do it yourself, you got this, you know. But then you have all these twin souls, so they're all feeding off you, and you never make it even past that mountain. You just get so used to not accomplishing anything, and they're just around you and they're accomplishing everything, and it makes you feel like they make you think that you're accomplishing something when you're really not. Yeah, I think the theme of the month is mannequins for sure. They're very powerful. You could call them a homunculus because they're created through magical means in a way where two evil people make a baby, and then there you go, there's a homunculus. But if you were a magician and you were using magic, you could create a homunculus. It could be evil, it could be good, it could be whatever you want, but it's going to be something in the spiritual realm, and you're not going to really... But the humans, they are the mannequins, they do it in a completely different way. Yeah, so I've been doing a lot of rituals where I block them. So like, let's say they want to make music, I block it. Let's say they want to make movies, I block it. Let's say they want to make magic, I block it. Let's say they want to make art, I block it. So they can't do it. And if they do it, I have a spell that kind of makes them do it the way I want it to be done. So that way I can be like entertained by it. But at the same time, it's something really destructive, so it destroys them. So they're not really going to profit from it one way or another. So like, let's say they want money or they want to use money, I have this spell to like just block them and like prevent them from being able to use money the way they want. So anything that they're trying to do is just block. So they're going to have to be there. I'm training them, I guess, to kind of fall off the cliff, and they don't even realize it. Yeah, so let's kind of go back to the topic about the twin soul thing. All right, you have a twin soul. This is you, okay? You're you and your twin soul. And then you could have other twin souls too, because there's going to be a couple, like, you know, soulmates in different respects. Of course, you have the good kind, like your family, where they're your soulmates, and it's like a good thing to have them around. But this is going to be the mannequin. The mannequin is someone that's outside your family, obviously. All right, so... But I'm not going to lie, sometimes your family members can be the worst ones, but it's better to, like, look past them. Because if you look at them and you focus your energy towards them and attack them, then these guys get away with it and they keep influencing that person to like hurt them, to hurt you. So, but once you get rid of these people, your family members aren't going to really bug you as much. All right, so you got your mannequin, you're beating him up in the spiritual realm, you're doing spiritual warfare on him, whether it be like burning incense or casting spells or invoking energy or doing like what I like to do. Like I literally just will... This is the thing about magic. You can do a spell to throw a fireball, and you just pretend that there's a fireball in your hand and you throw it. You could even do it in a way where you like recite a poem and like a fireball comes down from heaven and burns your opponent. Or you can, I don't know, do a dance and then it creates fire and destroys your opponent. Things like that. So it may seem like a normal thing where it's just like, okay, there's nothing happening, it's normal, you're just having fun with your imagination. But in the astral realm, it has a lot of effects and it's very powerful. But in this mundane world, it just seems like nothing, but at least you're entertained for the most part. And remember, the mannequin doesn't like it when you're entertained. It only likes it when you're suffering. So yeah, I entertain myself. But I'll use that magic and it'll reverberate and it'll come back in a good way. It'll be a blessing, if anything. Let's see. And if you've ever seen Harry Potter, there's like Obscurios or Obscuriuses or whatever. That's what happens when you hold back your energy and your magic instead of dancing and letting it come out of you. And you hold it in, and you just start destroying everything around you instead of really embracing it. And yes, you can destroy things around you when you're using your magic fluidly, but if you're holding it back, you're kind of being detrimental to yourself. You're like breaking your own reality. But once you start using it to your advantage, you break the mannequin's reality and you create your own reality, which is really beautiful because we want to live in the true reality, not in this fake mannequin reality. The mannequin reality is complete suffering. It's boring as hell. They might look like they're happy, having a good time, laughing and like posting videos about it, but don't trust it because it's all a lie. It's all a facade. Remember, the mannequin's a facade. They're basically skinwalkers. But like we can say all these things about them, but at the end of the day, they are so simple. They're only one thing. They're going to hell. That's it. Like they're not gifted, they're not intelligent. Yes, they can be intelligent, but they're just one thing. Us, we're multifaceted, but this thing, it's one thing, and it'll always be one thing, and it can go to the highest of the highs. It can become a movie star, it could be a celebrity, it could become a king, it could be whatever it wants, but it'll always gonna have one thing. It's gonna go to hell. Us, we're multifaceted, so we have a whole bunch of options. And we have different ideas and gifts and spiritualities and beliefs, and it's what makes us special and unique. But the mannequin doesn't have that. What it does is that it puts on a mask. It sees what you're doing, it creates a mask, and it goes out there and it replicates it. And the more you get replicated for being unique, the lower you go and the higher it gets. So I used to know a lot of people that were really unique and they're personable. But then a mannequin will see what they're doing and then start copying it, and it just drains the life out of that unique person to the point where they hit rock bottom and they're no longer around in any form. And usually they go crazy, or they like get really depressed, or like their energy, boom, like they talk so different. Like I've noticed that a lot happening to people, and I'll be like, okay, the mannequin is on the move, like it's getting stronger, it's doing its job. All right, so you have this, which is you, and then you have your soulmate, all right? And your soulmate, your twin soul, is going to be somebody that's meant to put you down. So they're going to be like, you're going to be like, oh man, I do so many great things in my life. And it's going to be like, well, it's not good enough. Oh man, like I got all this going for me. Well, your good things are just not going to happen for you. Your life is horrible. Remember, it's the bad thing. It's like the negative voice inside of you. It impulses it. It embraces it. It invokes it. I don't know. There's something in there, that word, that makes you like more negative. So then you start believing in those negativities, or like it just, you might not even believe in that negative energy, but it still weighs you down. So your twin soul, your twin flame, your soulmate, whatever it is, that's its job, and it can create more of itself, more twin flames, more soulmates, so that way it has different levels to make sure it always hits you. But that's why you have to identify the first mannequin. So like I've seen Aries, one of the mannequins that is in fire. I've seen Hermes, Taurus, another mannequin in this area. So this one's a singer, this one's an actor. But there's this mannequin, the most expensive one, the most rich one, the most powerful one. And this one is the most important to me because I was destined for that life, but it has it instead. So I'm like, all right, this is fun, but that one, I need that king, I need that crown. And how do I get it? I have to destroy that one to get it. I've already destroyed I've already made a mark on it where I destroyed its like pre-generator, I guess you could say. But that once I destroyed that, it revealed that there's another one. Now I have to destroy that one. But if I focus my energy on this one, which is young, which is powerful, he's older than me, obviously, but he's a Cancer. And he's a moon sign, he's a water sign, a water element. Yeah, so I call this one Artemis or Cancer, okay? So this one, this mannequin, this soulmate, is really powerful because it has what it needs to survive long battles of spiritual warfare. So like what it likes to do, I'll just give examples of what they like to do. So like let's say you're younger, you're having a lot of fantasies and daydreams, and you have this romantic idea of what love is, and you're just living in this really good vibration. It sees that, and there's a part of it that's involved with that romance, that spiritual romance, but at the same time it's like sinking its claws and its fangs slowly and slowly. Its tendrils are going deeper into your heart, and to the point where you don't even realize that it's doing it. And then finally, when you're ready to live your life, those tentacles kind of come out and they start spreading out all over everything. So then you're like, you can feel like all of your, like, you have all these big dreams and aspirations, and you see it happening for everyone around you. All the mannequins start falling in love. They start getting everything they want, but you don't get any of those things. And you're just like, what's going on? Like, why am I not getting where I need to be? Like, there's this promise for me, this promise from God, like this blessing, this vision that I know that I'm supposed to have, but it's not working. It's because the mannequin has already sunk its tendrils in you. It's absorbing all that energy and it's giving it to its mannequin so it could get it for itself. So it's just like a huge parasite that connects through all these people, all these mannequins. So yeah, I got this head honcho mannequin, and the thing is, like, all right, when you're a slayer, when you destroy the head honcho of any kind of parasitic figure, vampire or whatever, once you destroy that, all of them get destroyed because they don't have that resource. They can't do it themselves. They start breaking down. Imagine this is like the head or the brain. Once you take out the brain, the rest of the limbs stop working. So they all protect this one piece. So while I'm doing my magic, you know, I'm like, all right, I'm going to attack in the spiritual warfare in this astral realm. And then once I get here, so this is me in the east, this is Venus, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to attack. And then once I get in the center of Saturn, we have Hermes, Mercury, Taurus, the actor. He comes over here, he kind of blindsides you a little bit, gives you a little bit of shade, makes you feel a little negative, get a little tired, a little weaker. That's that energy drain. And then you have Aries over here, coming to distract you, maybe make you feel a little bit of love, make you feel like a little something. He's an Aries sign, so he's charismatic, he's fiery, he's rambunctious, and he starts pulling away your attention and your energy. And then you start fighting these guys off. So you beat up Hermes, you beat up Aries, you use your magic on them, you start damaging them. But this guy is still strong. Cancer's still gaining his energy, he's still vampirizing, he's leeching off of it very slowly. It's not as fast as it usually is, but it's going, you know, he's still leeching. So then you're kind of like, all right, these two, they're annoying, but this is the one that is controlling them. These are the hands. So I have to pin these hands down. Just with magic, it's super, super simple. You just think it. If you've ever seen Sabrina the Teenage Witch, she just thinks it or says it or does a spell, and it's like finite. It doesn't change. It doesn't move. She doesn't need extra. She just does it. And that's exactly how magic works. It just happens. So if you're like, all right, I'm seeing him pinned down, they're gonna be pinned down, and that's it. So then you keep moving, and then you focus on the soulmate. So this heavy hitter, it's always gonna be somebody like, sure, you might really love this one, so like that one has to go. You might kind of love this one, and then this one you might not love that much. But there's something about him, like he has the most power, the most money. I think that's the most important. Like, how high up are they, and can you see them in your mind's eye? And I've seen them in my dreams, and I've seen them last night too, I think. But I had this like sex dream last night, so it was kind of interesting. But yeah, so here he is, this Cancer, this Artemis, this water sign. And he's a king, and he has all this money and all this wealth, and he's super powerful, right? So now I get to battle him in the astral realm. And the good thing is, since I'm Gemini, that makes me an air sign. So I obviously have the powers of Venus and I have the powers of Mercury. But I'm also, let's say I was born at 257. So I have a lot of solar energy, a lot of fire energy down that way, just because of where I was born. And then I was born on a Saturday. So I have a lot of energies I can tap into. But I'm really, really focused on this Apollo energy. So my idea is this, okay? We have Apollo. He's this god of the sun. A lot of times in Revelation, you hear about Abaddon. So I'm like, all right, I could do that. I can tap into that magical force, into that energy. Yeah, so once you tap into that, you can do spells in that area. You can use it to your advantage and you can utilize it. So for me, all right, this is like the map or the chart of what the world looks like. Okay, so we have the north, we have the east, we have the west, and we have the south. Obviously this is west because you can see Pisces and that's water. The north is represented by a diamond. East is represented by the sun, and then you can see these like air kind of currents, and then down here you can see the 3 patterns of the sun. So it lets you know like Sagittarius, Aries, and then it goes kind of into Scorpio. All right. And that's why Scorpio and Aries is like so close to each other, like this triangle. All right, so this obviously lets you know that it's in the domain of Mars, so that's south. And then the domain of Saturn would be north, because Saturn is seen as more of a colder ending. It's like a death thing. Even though it's like your life, it's still a symbol of death. So this can be seen as the nighttime. This can be seen as the daytime. So this is nighttime in the north, right? Because the sun's not moving over here in northwest. That's when it sets. And in the northeast, that's when it starts rising. So you get the early morning right here, and then this is the daytime, like the afternoon. All right, so you can see that there's this north and south pole. All right, so if I was here and I'm looking straight out into the world, there's this curve, there's this idea. So we're inside of this dome. This is the earth, and we're on it, inside of it. So, you know, if you ever heard stories about Agartha or anything, and it's like, okay, there's the earth, and then inside the earth, there's a civilization, and there's a sun in there. So this would be the sun right here. This line right here, this is the North Pole, this is the South Pole, and this can be seen as the sun, this little curved thing. But the sun is moving around this pole, hitting the whatever direction it's facing. All right, so let's see. With the sun, if it's the center of the earth, where do you go to when you die? You go to the center of the earth, correct? So that can be seen as hell, but it can also be seen as heaven, because a long time ago, the Elysian Fields, which was heaven, had 2 sides to it. It had this hellish side where you kind of get tortured, and then this heavenly side where you live in peace. So what I'm doing right now, a lot of my magic is going through the heavenly side and destroying any angel I find. Like, if there's an angel, I destroy it. So I'm doing spiritual warfare against angels. So if I see a beautiful angel with majestic wings or anything, like, you can see them in your mind's eye, and that's important. Like, when you do like spiritual warfare, you can see what you're looking for, and it's not necessarily going to show itself like, oh, this is exactly what the angel looks like and it's beautiful and glorious and perfect. But you're going to get a good glimpse of it. You're going to see its silhouette, you're going to see what it's wearing, you're going to see the colors that it's holding, etc., what it's thinking, what it's saying, what it's doing, but you can only barely tap into it. It's like you can dun, dun, dun. So when I'm doing that little lock on, I kind of lock onto it, and I use like a fire spell to grab it and burn it. But since they're angels, and if this is the sun, and that's a hot place, and there's angels around it, you can imagine it that they're really resistant to fire. So I'm like, I really got to tap into that Apollo energy and create a fire that just completely burns them. Even if they're angels, completely burns them. And I want to empower the sun in a way where the sun, when it shines, it's bringing me a good life. It's bringing me really good energy, but it's destroying the mannequins. So little by little, you'll notice the mannequins get weaker. They won't be as intelligent. They won't want to be in the sun as much. Even if it's a nice cool day, they're still going to hide away. So it's good to just be like, boom, really grab them, crush them, make the sun stronger to your advantage. So that's what I'm doing, making some really fiery, potent Apollo solar energy magic sun flares, sunspots. And yeah, so I'm going after my target too. So every time I see my soulmate in the astral realm, which is kind of daily because I make sure that I focus on him at least, a couple times throughout the day, I go in there, do a couple spells, like make it look like I'm holding a ray of light and like kind of let it bend through the air and like hit him. So usually you're like, okay, well, how can you hit somebody from a distance with magic? If you've ever done remote viewing, you just close your eyes. You can keep them open, but this is a simple way. Just close your eyes. Imagine where you are right now on the earth, and then imagine where he is. And you can kind of get like an energy, and you can kind of swing it and throw it towards him, and just know that it's going to hit him. And let it hit him. You have to want it to hit him. So just go there, boom. I hit him. He's spinning. He falls. He's in armor. He's always in armor. I noticed that. He's always wearing armor to like kind of protect himself from my attacks. And then I can hear him say things. So he'll mention something like, "Oh, you got me." So a lot of people you meet with schizophrenic or bipolarism or anything that has to do with like voices is because they're in the astral realm, they're in the spiritual realm, and they're affected by it. So I'm affected by it. So I'm receptive. Instead of letting it kind of attack me, if it says anything towards me, I make sure I hit it with a good punch in the astral realm. Not physical. It could be physical like this, but I'm not really gonna punch somebody, but I'm gonna use a magic spell to destroy them, whoever it is that I can see in my mind's eye. And it's a lot healthier, right? But yeah, I'll tell you this much: there's a lot of people that do get affected by the spirits, and it's detrimental. But when I fight back, it's detrimental for them. And the thing is, they don't want to be noticed. So the mannequin, it doesn't want to be noticed. If you're stronger than it, it doesn't want to be noticed. It doesn't want to be, it doesn't want the attention. Because if it gets the attention and it sees you and you see it in the astral realm, or if you're even aware of it, it gets damaged by it. It gets psychic damage. So it feels pain over time, like poison. So the more you focus on it, the weaker it gets until finally it just shatters. And the good thing is, okay, so if I'm fighting this mannequin, this soulmate, he has all these tendrils running through, and I make sure I pin them all down. And while I'm damaging him, the fire burns through all of them. So they all feel the pain with him. Not less, not more than, they all feel the pain. So if he's dying inside and getting hurt a lot, these guys are also getting hurt a lot. That's why they fight off. They fight so much to try to like stay alive, and you don't want that, obviously. So you just got to keep using your magic. So I use my solar magic on him. I know I could do a whole bunch of different kinds, like thunder, plants, healing, etc. So I throw like a ray of light or sunshine, but I make sure it's like a burning hot one. So when it goes through, it like burns off like a chunk of his body off. And then I keep going and let that energy kind of sit and soak up where he is. And then I can probably do a spell where I send out a ray of light just completely from his location and like burn everything away. So that way it does like a AoE, area of effect damage. And then you get more enemies caught up in that spell. Let's see. Then they burn, and then you kind of have to deal with whatever happens next. Because like, let's say you get burned, right? On your hand, your body's gonna jerk. That's the same thing that happens with a mannequin. If you burn this guy, they all are gonna be like, what? And then they're all gonna try to like interfere in whatever it is that you're doing, any way possible. Remember? Okay, so let's see, what else can we work on? So we have Cancer. We're burning him with solar magic. I also do a thing where like I heal myself with the solar energy, so I can get the elements to kind of understand how to work with me more fluidly, more quickly, more efficiently. It's like a muscle, so you always have to work on it. You can't expect it to be perfect, and as you progress in age, sometimes it gets stronger, sometimes you get weaker. So you kind of have to make the best of the moments and, utilize your energies to your potential almost. But the mannequins, they're always good at these kind of things. So they're always going to be really good at like fucking up your life. That's their main goal. They're always going to be really good at that. So I keep doing spells to block them so they can't do it anymore until they start like you're taking away their power source, and they can leech off of each other, but if they leech, but they're gonna always have to have somebody leeching off of you. So if I'm using my magic to like completely block that leech, they're not getting any energy, and little by little they're gonna start cannibalizing and leeching off each other until there's nothing left, and then it's gonna go back down to the soulmate part again. So either I destroy him right away, or he's gonna end up destroying himself. But what I'm doing is I'm doing both. So it's destroying his mannequins and it's destroying him. So while he's dying, it's just gonna kind of shrivel up and just completely be destroyed. And that's how you do spiritual warfare, because you can't play fair, you can't play nice. You can play nice in the material realm, which you need to do, because they don't like it when you do bad things. So you have to do everything spiritually. If you've ever had like little brothers or sisters and they like snitch on you and try to get you in trouble, that's kind of how the mannequin is. But yeah, let's see what else we can talk about. I haven't really been working with the spirits as much lately, like from the Ars Goetia. Sometimes I have to take a little bit of a break and give them a chance to like absorb their own energies and get strong on themselves. But I'm definitely working on my energies to like really pack a punch, and I really have to develop my characters in a way. So I'm also playing, well, I have this game called Castle Demon Lord, where it's a role-playing game, kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, and I have one of my friends playing with me, so we roll the dice and we figure out where we're going, and we're just making like tons of money. So right now my character has like $2.something billion or $3.2 billion, and their character has like $2.something billion. So like we're just making all this money. We have these little armies already. I have like unicorns and dragons and satyrs. She has like Amazons and tons of like dryads and different kind of creatures, like lion women. I have lion men. So it's fun to see like how much blessings they can get and how many like boons I can get, etc. So it's basically just building up your spiritual but after we're done playing, we're kind of tired. We're like, whoa, that was a lot of energy that like we used up in the game, because it uses up your spiritual force, the game. It's kind of like playing the Ouija board and Jumanji put together. So you're kind of getting this real world effect. You get real rewards eventually, like they'll come into your life. It's like if you did a spell to like cut cords or like invoke or do an incantation, it's the same thing. I make sure the game has the spell in it, and you're traveling through it. So you're moving through the astral realm, you're doing a lot of things. And I think there's a couple things that I could work on it to make it better, but I'm trying to streamline it so it's really fast and fun. Yeah, so today my character was like in the diamond domain, so my character was looking for money. Last time they were in the water domain, so they're looking for a lot of love, like people to follow them, and it found people to follow them. This time it was the other way around, so my friend had earth last time, now they have water this time. So they had diamonds last time and they have hearts this time. Yeah, so she had already made money in the last game. I had made a whole bunch of followers in the last game. This game I made money, she made followers. Yeah, so we'll just see where it goes from there, and I kind of let the game speak for itself, because it's kind of like a tarot reading. Like, it's going to tell you the truth on its own, and I want this game to kind of do the same thing. Like, I want it to focus on what your problems are, because you can think like, well, my problem is love, and then it turns out not really. Your problem is more about communication. And so I let the game kind of decide what it is. And so far the game was like, all right, first it's love and then it's money. So obviously, like, you're probably surrounded by a lot of crappy people, so let's clean that up. And it did work. Maybe your money's not as potent as it usually is, and now I have like a bit of a better mentality for money right now, like where I want to make money. Usually I don't think about it, but right now I'm thinking about it. And that's what the mannequin will do too. Like, let's say you have potential for something, the mannequin will make it so that you don't really want those things. And it's not like me, I don't think of money as like a necessity in life, but it's definitely a necessity, because if you don't have money, you don't have a life. But for me, when I was growing up, I was like, money's awesome and it's cool to have, but I wish I could just live my life without it. And now that I don't have it, it's like, wow, it sucks. And especially with the mannequin there, like, imagine if the mannequin wasn't there and you didn't have money and you can go explore forests and live a good life and like have good things happen for you and you can get a job whenever you want. that'd be great. But the mannequin takes all your jobs, it takes all your opportunities, it takes everything you want, and it gives it to somebody else and another mannequin, because the more mannequins that are empowered, the better. I'm gonna kind of tell a scary story, but I think there's these Hasidic Jews, and there was a time in history when they were gonna get stamped out, and then they came to America, and then they started breeding a lot, and then they started making their own rules, and then they started making their own like hierarchies. You want to sit down, Kat? You can sit down. Just bring the chair. Yeah. All right. So yeah. Let me try to turn so you don't have to see Kat right now. All right. Let's see. Yeah. So these Hasidic Jews, they're like they're making more and more and more. That's a mannequin tactic, like just overbreeding, overpopulating, overtaking things, and like kind of making your own rules. And it's a bit unfortunate, but it's like it takes away from like the real authentic thing, and it makes it where the mannequin can kind of like have its own thing. And you're not really supposed to let that happen, but it does happen. So in the spiritual, so next time I go in the spiritual realm, now I know that what's helping this mannequin, my soulmate mannequin, the one that has a lot of money, would be these Hasidic Jews, because they're mannequin territory, so there's something there that's connected. So I kind of have to look at like all the little clues that come up, and then you kind of have to work on that. So yeah, when you're using your magic, maybe like while I'm throwing some fire spells and they're bouncing around, and then it hits my target and it burns it, I might start noticing like a lot of like Hasidic Jews start appearing and like trying to like get in the game, kind of. Because once you start burning the mannequin that is like the head one, all the other ones will start popping up, because they're not going to be able to hide, because it's kind of like, imagine there's like a burrow underground, and there's a whole bunch of little weasels living in there, and you find like the main nest where they all go, and it connects to the rest of the nests, and you found like the perfect shaft for it, and you throw down like a firework and it pops and it starts fire down there. They're gonna all start running out of these other holes. So that's what you're gonna kind of notice when you're doing spiritual warfare, like all the different kinds of people or mannequins that kind of come out of that hole, those holes, to kind of like run or escape. But if you're aware of it, maybe you're on high ground spiritually and you can see the whole field, you'll start noticing a pattern. And you'll start noticing other things. So I've noticed on YouTube as well, there's a lot of remote viewers, people that can like tap into the astral realm and see what's going on. I'm watching one right now that like keeps an eye on Beyonce, and I think it's kind of cool, but I also have to remember like, all right, when you tap into the astral realm, and let's say you're a mannequin and you tap into the astral realm, all the other mannequins are going to see it too. So you're all like mind hive collective. Let's say there's another mannequin, she taps into it too, but instead of like thinking, all right, to destroy the mannequin, they're more like, okay, how do I think of this realistically? Because the more realistic you think of it, it kind of plays off on what the mannequin wants, because we live in their reality. So basically what I'm trying to say is the mannequin is the ruler of this reality. Even though we're the rightful rulers, they're the true rulers, because they own everything. The mannequin owns everything. The mannequin is in charge of everything. We're beneath the mannequin. Not like literally, but we are literally beneath them. Because we don't have as much money as them. We don't have as much power as them. We don't have as much numbers as them. We don't have anything that can compete with them. They're a parasite that is infesting the world, that is like completely dominated by them. We're only stronger in the fact that it's our destiny to destroy the mannequin and come out on top. And then we don't have to worry about mannequins anymore. For me, I kind of had to leave it up to interpretation for what a mannequin is in your idea, because if I tell you straight up what mannequins are, then you might not like that. And you might be one. Then you'll really be like, oh, geez. But mannequins can have all the same spiritual gifts that we have, but they use it in a different way, or they're not using it the right way. So usually when we use our spiritual gifts, it hurts the mannequin, regardless if we know that they're mannequins or not. We're like an antivirus, so we'll be a vaccine basically compared to them, and they'd be viruses. And so, like, let's say, and it's so strange how they can leech off of us, but still, like, what I usually think when they leech off of us, they have somebody else leeching off of us, and then they kind of like take all the negative and they have like some kind of positive, and then another mannequin takes the positive and then makes more of that positive, or transfers that positive, and then another mannequin that's even bigger than them takes that positive. So there's just this long chain of parasites, and it just, when it's near you, it's just a lot weaker, but at the same time it could be like pretty intense, and they might be more detrimental. So they might have like some kind of deformality or something wrong with them, mentally, physically, etc. But you kind of have to just learn how to live with the mannequin, because you are going to be in a lot of moments where you have to live with mannequins, and you can't really change that. Yeah, and you're just going to hear a lot of feedback, and it's not fun. But you just have to be positive about yourself, and you just have to keep going, and no matter what people say, just be kind of authentic to yourself and be true. The good thing is, like, I like to kind of give these little tips out, because if the mannequin hears them, they kind of grab onto it, and you will notice patterns. But, you know, the more you put into your intentions and your magic, and you really just kind of focus on defeating the mannequins, they'll start being destroyed too, because now there's that intention in it. Before, when I was younger, I didn't have that intention to destroy the mannequin. It was like, help the mannequin, help everybody, like, just be friendly and be good and bring a lot of good things in the world. And as that kind of progressed, all the mannequins got this energy, this power, and they started dominating all the other forces in the universe. So then it gets heavier and heavier and heavier. You get more depressed, and you're like, why am I getting depressed in my life? Like, I never felt this way before. I'm just getting older. What's the difference? And it's because of that. The mannequins are getting stronger. You're getting weaker. And then finally there comes a moment when you're like, am I supposed to do good things for people and just always stay true to being good and never do anything bad? And the mannequin will be like, yeah, don't ever do anything bad, don't ever hurt me, la 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 la. And that's when you start noticing, like, wait a minute, the mannequin's getting a little bold here and starting to, I don't know, reveal itself. And the more you notice it reveal itself, and you're like, oh, that's the mannequin, now I know what to destroy. Yeah, so that's just some mannequin 101, like how to identify mannequins in your life. And you can't just like block them out in reality, of course, I know, but you can do it spiritually in a way where you do spiritual warfare, you protect yourself, you bless yourself. And it's not easy, because once you start doing really good at it, that's when they start going harder, because then all the other mannequins are like, oh snaps, that's a good source of energy. If we can somehow topple this really strong Atlantean, then we can like absorb all its energy, and then there's nothing that can stop us after that, because then we'll have some of that power. But while I'm working my magic, I want to make sure that this isn't just for me, because I don't care about anyone else. But if there's a lot of people getting parasited by mannequins, I have to kind of put an end to that. So, no, it's okay.
Sure.
I just hear you eating and. Okay.
I'm slowly sucking your energy.
She's sucking my energy. Yeah. No, you're not. Hold on. Let me rub my eye.
Yeah, mannequin me. I'm pulling your energy away.
Mannequin Slayer. All right. So yeah. The mannequin slaves. Yeah. So let's say there is an. Okay, we're gonna be Atlanteans, because we're pure creatures that are like the supremes, and we're gonna rule the earth. But then there's the mannequins, and they want to stop us from ruling the world. So they're the bad guys, we're the good guys. But in their world, they're the good guys, we're the bad guys. So hey, let's be the villains. All right. Yeah. So we have the mannequins, and what they like to do to an Atlantean. So like, let's say there is another Atlantean, and they're out there in the world, and the mannequin sees them, and they're like, ooh, like they tap into this Atlantis energy, because you can kind of go through from your body, from the spirit realm, to get that energy. And they see them, then they like leech off of them, they manipulate them, they start influencing them, they're around them, and then they kind of become one of them. They become a mannequin. They're no longer Atlanteans anymore. So that's one of their tactics, and it's a bit unfortunate, but you can't like really look back. You can't be like, well, I'm gonna go save that other Atlantean. No, you can't really go save them. They're screwed. Once they're screwed, they're screwed. They're gonna go to hell. You can't save them after that. They kind of have to do their own work. They kind of have to do their own thing. And they kind of have to reach out to you. But if they never reach out to you, then you're never gonna, you don't need to bother. You don't need to like stress. Don't ever like be, if you start noticing like you have these OCD things, that's not a good sign, because that lets you know that you're being affected by the mannequin, and you don't want to be affected by the mannequin. You want to affect the mannequin, because if you're affected by it, then that means it has some kind of power over you, and you don't want that. Yeah, so let's see. Where else can we go? Their weaknesses. You can just do anything spiritual. So like, let's say you put a salt around you, like a circle. That's always good. Burning different candles and sages and herbs really helps. Creating like water tinctures. So like maybe get some rosemary and some water, dip it in there, and like sprinkle it around like incense kind of thing. That would work too. You got to be kind of simple about it. You can't be too extravagant. But if you do get the opportunity to be extravagant, take advantage of it, because it can really make a difference. So I think there's another part of the story too, is that like some mannequins will do those rituals and they'll get a good grasp of the other mannequins, because they're like abusive in nature. So if there's like a couple mannequins here and there's this big mannequin here who has a lot of money and influence and power or really good ideas, they'll be able to influence these other mannequins and kind of be able to do rituals that way. So they could like do spells to like hurt them, and then they get hurt, and then they're like, what do you want us to do for you, master? Because I noticed a lot of times when I do rituals and I attack angels, they'll go on their knees and bend and be like, whatever you want, master, whatever you want. And I'm like, what? Like, but when I do that with the demons, they're like, oh, I'm gonna go do that right now for you, and they go and do it. But the angels, they're like, what do you want us to do? It's like, what? You know what I want you to do, but you want to waste my time by asking? Like, you need to get up on the game. Like, my mom would be like, you know that you have to do this, so you don't need me to remind you, right? Like, you can do it on your own without someone reminding you. And I'm like, yeah. So then it's kind of like, okay, if you see a mess on the floor, you clean it up. Like, you just got to do it. So that's kind of that like idea. Like, all right, when you're training the spirits and you start destroying them, like the angels or whatever, and they're looking at you like, oh my god, like, what do I do? I'm worshiping you. And it's just like, no, actions speak louder than words. Like, I need you to do what the demons are doing. Like, the demons go out and do their work. Like, if there's somebody bugging me, they go and fix it, and they'll be putting a hell of a lot of work, but you're protecting them, and I can't have that. I can't have no angels protecting my victims, my mannequins that I want to destroy. So if the angels are like obstructing you, then that's a really good sign that you really hit the jackpot, because you're attacking the mannequins so hard that the angels had to come out, because the angels are like the biggest mannequins that we got. Those are the ones that are like really fueling these ones out. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're protecting them from accidents, they're protecting them from bad luck and all these other things. And it's like, wait a minute, you're supposed to be working for me, working for us. So if you're not working for us, then something's going on. Like, maybe we don't need no angels up in here trying to protect us. So then you just got to start destroying the angels. Like, honestly, I never see any good energies from angels ever. They're only good at one thing, mannequin stuff. Like, sometimes Archangel Michael really does a good job of protecting you, but I'm like, nah, you got to do more than that. Like, I don't know. I really got to destroy a lot of them. And it's like a bit unfortunate, but you just have to do it. You know what I'm saying? Let's see, what else do we have with the mannequins? The angels, yeah, they're annoying. So maybe, well, what I've been doing is doing this like absorption spell, like a gravity spell. So I kind of let out the flare, like the spiritual energy, so it comes out like a sun. And then I let all the angels kind of gather in and float around that energy, because they want to see what you're doing. They want to know what you're doing. They want to be around you, so that way they can see, like, oh shit, David wants to attack this guy, I gotta go protect them. Because they're very telepathic as well, so they can understand what's going on in your head, what your body language is, like what you're feeling. They can even see where your magic is going. You might not see it precisely. You can probably see a good little glimpse of it, but you're not going to see the exact science of it. But they can see all of that on the other side. So they're like, what are you going to do next? What are you going to do next? And then, like, you're like, oh, I want to attack this guy. Boom, you throw your magic at him. The angel's going to go fly over there and take most of the hits, or block him, or put somebody else in there, or like try to influence it in some way to like defend that person. So you have to really grab that angel and destroy them. But the angels are really, they have a really high defense. What I've noticed is that, like, I can grab a mannequin and burn him like that, like put him in hellfire. But the angel, it's like you got to just really sit there for a minute and let them burn. Really put a lot of energy into burning them. And it's a little bit frustrating, but I think the more I do it, the easier it'll get. But I just never really had to destroy an angel. So I've had dreams where, like, I go to heaven and I have this like black knight behind me, like a knight, like an angel, but he's covered in like armor. And he'll like fly me all the way to heaven and show me where all the other angels are. And then all the angels will be in the clouds and they'll be laughing, having fun, but they're really arrogant. And they're just like, oh yeah, I'm better than you, yada yada. And then they just put a fake smile on. And I'm like, and there's a lot of them, so I was like looking at them all, and I was like, I could be all of you like really quickly. And they just start laughing, and then I just go really fast like a whirlwind and just knock a whole bunch of them out, knock a whole bunch of other ones. And then I see one, and like he's still laughing, but I can tell that he's really scared, and I like reach for him really quickly and I grab him and I start shredding his skin off. But like the way he looked was very beautiful and seductive, but there was a lot of things wrong with him. Like he was not he wasn't perfect, I would say. He was like awkwardly perfect, like in a way that is like perfect but ugly at the same time. It was very strange. Like they weren't like they were supermodel kind of, but not the way you see supermodels now. Everybody looks the same. Over there they don't really look the same, but they have like this like seductive features. I don't know how to explain it any more than that. But yeah, so I went after him, crushed him, but I was like, he reminded me a little bit of a special ed person, the way he was behaving and the way he acted, like the energy that came out of it. And I was like, this is interesting. Like I got to see what the angels were like. I got to see like their true face, their true colors, because when you see them in the astral realm, they put up such a glamour that you see something beautiful. And that's okay, because it doesn't matter what they look like on the other side. You just have to destroy them. So that's how you got to learn how to spiritually lock onto your targets and destroy them. When I do tarot readings from a distance, like I could do a tarot reading from someone for someone halfway across the world, and I can see their fortune, and it's easy. You just have to like let it zoom in on its own. So kind of like I'm an air sign, so I could just imagine the wind going over there and like seeing what's going on. If you're a fire sign, you can imagine like you can see through whatever fires around them, or candles, or energy. If you're an earth sign, you can imagine going through all the earth and coming out like where they're at. Water, you can imagine like some kind of water around them, like rippling, creating like a sound effect, and then you just start appearing out of nowhere. So different ways of how to use your magic depending on your element. And even like, since I can use all the elements, I know that I can just tap into any of those. And I think that really helps when I want to like target somebody with my spiritual energy. So if I see my victim, I'm like, all right, I have all these elements to my disposal. I can kind of move over there and see it, and I don't have to think too hard on it. You don't have to be like, oh, I gotta understand every single science thing about it. No, just like kind of zoom in, let it happen. And as time progresses, you do get this little scientific idea of it, and it becomes a little easier. So usually when you see like mediums or remote viewers and other like YouTube channels, they're really, really good at it because they understand the science of it. They've done it for a long time. But you also have to remember, they might be mannequins, and I think that's up to you, like discernment. Like I could tell a mannequin right away, but you'll be like, oh, okay, it has good gifts and knows how to do these things. But there's something about it sometimes. And I'm not too mad either, because I think what I'm doing sometimes with the spells is like I get somebody and I even get their followers, even their remote viewers, and I kind of seep in a little bit of spike energy that kind of like forces them to kind of reveal secrets about their like masters. So even if they hate whoever they're remote viewing, they could be part of them still, and they're just like berserk. So usually when you play Final Fantasy, you'll have like a team of monsters, and you can put a spell of like berserk and confusion on one, and it'll start attacking its own friends and allies, and it makes the game a lot easier. Zelda does it. What other game can do that? Like Pokemon, you can make an enemy confused, it hurts itself, so that's kind of the tactic behind it. But you can remember that they also can do that to you, so you have to be careful. But the more you progress and the more you learn, you can stop them from using their magic just by thinking it. So you're just like nullifying whatever effects they have, and then they basically don't have any magic at all. They're back to being mannequins. The only reason mannequins have any magical energy is because they've seen you use it, and they're trying to replicate it, and they want you to believe this false idea that they're using it. But in reality, they're not going to be able to use magic. Because you need to be like, you know, God's chosen people. You got to be an Atlantean to be able to use magic. And even then, not all Atlanteans can use magic. So it's only going to be a select few that are able to do magical spells and rituals and actually perform them correctly. Yeah, but you probably won't see very much effect, because the mannequin like will bite its tongue down so it doesn't feel too much pain. I mean, it's going to feel pain, but it won't want to show you. But eventually it does show its true colors. Everything always comes to the surface. It always just takes a little bit of time to get there. 56 minutes. All right, so that's the end of this episode of Illuminati Broadcast. I'm David Moore. We learned a little bit more about mannequins, how to destroy them, and whatever else. Maybe we can talk a little bit more about like lineages in the next episode, and figure out things about like what makes an Atlantean a little bit better than the rest of the other, the rest of the population. Mannequins are prominent on the earth, and you can see them everywhere, and they infest the world, and they're very good at it. Growing up, I was really nice, so I helped a lot of mannequins, and I knew this would bite me in the ass one day, but I always thought, you know what, this is the right thing to do, to help others regardless if they're mannequins or not. But then after a while you realize, all right, like the mannequins, they want to make your life a living hell, so you can like kind of live in the light where you like do good things, and then you live alongside the mannequin, or you can just destroy the mannequin and just finally say F it and just take over the whole world. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. And it's like, I liked it because it was like, okay, you have two paths, and the one ruling the world, that wasn't even there. It was just like, be nice, help everything, do good things. But I was like, wait a minute, I'm gonna make my own damn path. I'm going to destroy this one. I destroyed that, and I created my own little path, and I don't care. I had to swim through the ocean. I had to climb up some mountains. I had to do a lot of magic, but I made my own path, and everyone has to follow that one, regardless if they like it or not. So yeah, it's like kind of like a conviction story, like where you're convicted, like you're contrite, like your heart is like, you know what, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna make this happen, I'm gonna make my own reality. I don't care, like nobody needs to influence it. I don't need a reason, I don't need a why or a how. This is my revenge story, and I'm gonna get it. So yep, that's how it works. All right, Illuminati Broadcast, David Moore. Next video, see you there.